This topic has me shaking. I'm actually shaking. My hands are physically shaking. So, do you guys know I'm typically very much even keel, like no changing, but this has me rattled because this is a subject that I've wanted to speak to y'all about for a very long time, but I never had the courage to do so. But now I do. So I want to say welcome in, everyone. Welcome, Larry. Thank you so much for the green gang. Thank you, Malevolent Elephant. Thank you so much. Hey, Heidi. Hi, Larry. Hello, Mr. Steele. How are you doing this evening? Hello, Grizzly Man, Red Log, Sierra, and also Celine. Thank you. And we will have no self crucifixions, crucifixions in this place. He says, if I hear one more. And he says he's going to crucify himself. Let's not do that. That's not what we do here on this side of YouTube. We don't do things like that. Hey, Maximus. Hi, Aticia. Okay, guys. So you guys welcome. Ready? Let's begin. Let me pull up a banner for you so you guys can read along with me. I am shaking so bad I can't even get the... I'm still shaking. Okay, here we go. The topic says, I'm a proud second wife. Proud. And you may ask, like, what do you mean second wife? I'm not a second wife as in I'm in a polyamorous marriage or anything like that. That's not the case. What I'm speaking about is my marriage with my husband and my husband having been a divorced man. And a lot of people ask, like, what about this and what about that? And I want to explain everything today so there's no confusion. So, I'm shaking. So the reason, there's many reasons why I chose my husband, that I said yes to my husband and no other. And, some of the reasons I have shared with you all, and some of them, some of them are very private and I just like to keep those to myself. But my husband, understand, let's see, when I was available for marriage, my husband wasn't the only one who wanted to marry me. You can imagine. So for me to choose my husband out of everyone else who wanted to court me, there had to have been a reason why, right? So yes, I had the option to marry another virgin, marry another person who had never been married before, and do the whole, like, everybody's new and everybody's but I wanted different. I wanted a man who had experience, who knew how to guide me, how to lead me in this way. I wanted that. That was my decision. There's many reasons for this because, I mean, as a woman, most people will not be honest about this kind of stuff. Most people will I just want to be honest about it. Like, I saw something in my husband that I knew was wisdom. He's already been through this. My husband was married before. He knows how it is to have a wife. He knows what to do. He knows already how boring the routine can be. He won't be surprised. He can lead me into this and I can follow him because I know he knows where he's going. Does that make sense? That's how I felt. That's exactly how I felt. And I had an argument with my father about this because even my father said, well, why don't you consider this or something like that? Just make sure you're considering, because my father loved my husband. He was actually enamored with my husband. So for me to make that decision, my father was thinking, wow, well, this man must be something for her because she would never make this decision otherwise. I'm going to say something and you all can crucify me in the chat if you want to, or you can call in and crucify me if you want. There's something about a second wife, right? There's something about a man who has already been married. He gets married a second time. What is the second wife typically? I want to ask you, what is the second wife typically like? So typically, in the case of a second wife, after a man has been married, he remarries. Typically, a man, when he marries a second wife, the second wife will be younger than the first. The majority of the time, I know people say, oh, there's some people who marry older. Majority of the time, second wife will be younger. She will not have a lot of, how can I say? The majority of the time, the second wife tends to be better than the first for that man, because this man has already learned what he wants, what he needs. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense to you. Somebody said better than the first. But I'm trying to explain it in a way that makes sense, that it doesn't sound bad, because there's nothing wrong with being a first wife at all. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is, when you're doing the first wife, first husband thing, everything is new, everything you guys experience together. You guys, the man is doing this for the first time himself. He's doing this for the first time. He's just trying to get through it. And the woman is following. Yes. My husband, however, already knew what was coming. He already knew. He wasn't surprised. He wasn't bored by the routine, because in every married couple, you're going to get into a routine. And it's not going to be as fun as you want it to be, of course. It's never going to be as fun as the beginning. So he already knew what was coming. He knew how to be. He had experience. He knew. So this is part of the reason why I wanted that. I did want him. I did want him. And I knew already, okay, he had been married before. I knew. But that's what I wanted. The other part about this is, somebody, Alicia, thank you so much. You guys see I'm shaking just to describe this. I'm shaking so bad. I can't even speak. My father approved. On the banner, it says, "Did your father approve?" Yes. But my father also admonished me about what problems I could face with this decision that I wanted to make. My father told me, you being a second wife, being, not his first wife, not in a polyamorous relationship, guys, but you being his second marriage, this can be harder for you, because people may say, okay, well, the second wife isn't to be taken as seriously, or blah, 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 blah. Me, I didn't care about that at all. All I knew is that I had a man who had already been through this, and he wanted to do it right the second time. And then there was me. So that's all that I saw in my place. The other thing that I want to talk about is the stigma of the divorced woman and the divorced man. Between a divorced woman versus a divorced man, it is different. So as a woman, if a woman tries to remarry as a divorcee, I had told you guys before that she will most likely not get a man of high value, because she is a divorcee. It happens, but most likely this will not be the case, because the stigma doesn't go the same when it comes to previously married men, versus a previously married woman. Does that make sense? A man who is divorced can marry any woman he wants, any woman, whether it be virgin or another divorcee or whatever have you, as long as the family approves. In the other case, if there's a woman who's a divorcee, and if she has children, she will not, you may have a 2% chance, she will not take a virgin son who has never been married from a family. She will not, because the family will not approve of that. It's not the same. It's not the same for both genders. As you guys know, we do believe in double standards. This is a thing in our culture. Double standards is what makes the culture. So this is the difference. And unfortunately, I want to share something. With you as well. Ramadan is coming up. Any of you Muslims in the chat, Ramadan is coming. Ramadan is when we don't eat for a month until the sun goes down. Eat, drink, or do whatever have you. Ramadan is coming, and the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he married a woman, his first wife, Khadija. She was a businesswoman. She was a divorcee. She was older than him. That was his first wife, a businesswoman. So when people are always talking about like this marriage and it happens. You can get married as a divorcee. It can happen. But in this culture today, the majority of time, you will not get a virgin husband. So the next point I wanted to bring up to you all is, hold on. Do I regret it? Do I regret being married to a man who was already previously married? Not at all. I would never have it any other way, because, like I said, something comes with a man that has already been through the fire. He already knows what it is. My husband came with patience. My husband came with understanding, from actually knowing already what was going to happen, what was going to happen when the routine comes, what's going to happen with the families. He'd already been through it. He guided me through this. He made me more mature because he guided me. He took me. I want to say it wasn't just both of us getting thrown into the fire when it comes to this marriage. It was him basically holding his hand out to me and saying, "Come." And that I can never replace that with anything, because that's what I wanted. I wanted a man. I wanted guidance, a man who already knew. I didn't want to just anyway. You guys might say that's like selfish. You might say it's a selfish reason, but this is how it happened, and this is the main reasons why I wanted to marry a man who had already been married. I had the option to marry another virgin. I did. And I declined. I didn't want it. So you can imagine there's also other reasons why a woman would want to marry a person who's a man, a man that has already had experience. He knows what he's doing. So, but if you guys are asking about Islamically, both people are supposed to be married, virgin. Both of us are supposed to be virgin, if possible. So that is like the proper way to do it if you want to say it like that. But I chose a married man, or previously married man, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Steele. He says a divorcee. I think he said divorcee. Whoever caused a divorce has been in a marriage. He or she knows how it works, so he or she understands what he or she looks for in a spouse. I agree. I agree. Because, like I said, my husband, when you have a man who's already been through this, his second choice is going to be better fit for him than the first, because no man would leave a marriage, get out of a marriage, and then marry someone that's worse than his first wife. It just wouldn't. Any logical man, I don't think, would do that. You get the option that you actually wanted. So